Today I'm going to teach you how I edit cyberpunk style portraits like this. So this video is actually a collaboration between me and Matthew Stern. Be sure to check out his channel. He does a lot of things with vintage lenses. He's the one who actually took these portraits and I'll be editing them in my style. Additionally, we also worked on a video together. Be sure to check it out. Anyways, let's get started. Now, anyone who knows my photography knows that portraits aren't my forte, but I do enjoy trying it out. So we're actually going to do two pictures right now. The first photo is actually going to be focused on the model herself, and we're going to mainly expose for the face. We're trying to make her look more or less as natural as possible. Just kind of like playing around with the temperature a little bit. I don't want her too green. So once we have our portrait of our model, I'm just going to export the full-sized image. There we go, highest setting possible. Now, we're going to edit this yet again, except this time we're going to be focusing on the background. Now, this is a website I use. It's called Cooler Color. It helps me choose the color scheme for my photos, like basically which color schemes are most aesthetic for people. So we're gonna go more towards kind of bluish, purplish tone with a little bit of orange, not too much. Or we can go for shades of purple. So it's a very cool website. It's free and I suggest you check it out. It helps me very much with when I'm making my photos. So we decided on the tones. Now we're going to start editing the background. She's going to look a bit strange, but believe me, it should be all right. So I like to reduce the highlights, push the whites, but not overblow them. Please don't worry about the way the model looks. This is right now we're just focusing on the background. And actually, when it comes to orange colors, it's very difficult to edit for me. Like it's hard to make them look good in my opinion. So I'm actually going to try and get rid of the orange cast or the yellow cast in the photos. And we're gonna go for kind of a desaturated purplish bluish tone look in the background. So once again, please don't worry about our model. We're just focusing on the background. That looks all right. We might add a little bit more purple tint to the background later, and we're just gonna add a little vignette, increase the highlights. Now open this in Photoshop. We're going to now place our image that we edited earlier. This one is the portraits. Now, if you have Snap enabled in Photoshop, this will make aligning much more easy. So we're going to open kind of a mask and Control-I to invert the mask. And now you should have this. Open up a brush and we're going to paint in our portrait tones. So this is the way I like to do my kind of cyberpunk style portraits. Now remember, cyberpunk is much more reliant on the background. You can't always achieve the cyberpunk look with any photo. So you need to work hard at it. Like I've had people send me pictures, they want me to give them like a cyberpunk kind of look, and it's just them with their shirt off and there's like a dirt background. Like it's not gonna work like that, you know. You do need a certain kind of look, a certain kind of aesthetic to the photo to be able to achieve this effect. Now, right now we're just brushing in back the colors of her face. I normally like for my portraits to reflect the way a portrait should look. Now she does look a little bit kind of yellowish, a little bit kind of green, but we will rectify that in a second. So right now I'm just going to give a little bit more kind of a purplish cast to the background because it was a little too desaturated. There we go. And Next step, we're going to change the skin tone of our model just a little bit. Make it not so green, not so pale. But we can't overdo it because this is a portrait. As you can see, you move the hue and saturation slider, it changes things. Right now we're in the yellow channel. I only want to affect the yellows. And I'm gonna make it just a little bit red, just a tad bit, just a little bit of orange, just to add more life to her face. And there we go. That looks much better. And now what we want to do is we actually want to go in there and basically fix any masking errors we didn't rectify before. So I did a very general mask, but when you're doing these, you want to really zoom in there and make sure you color grade appropriately. Okay, so now I'm going back in there. I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to make sure there's no halo effect around the models, because usually when you do this kind of work, there's kind of a halo glow around them that's somewhat unnatural. You want to go in there and spend your time, like you really want to make sure everything looks well when you do this. Right now I'm just doing like a quick mask correction. But like I said, you really want to spend your time when you do this. We're actually going to put a little bit more red in there. I think it looks really nice. And there is no right or wrong way of doing these kind of portraits. It's really up to you which colors you like. Although I do suggest using the Cooler Color website, because it helps with choosing pleasing colors. Now we're going to save the image. And we're going to go back into Lightroom for a little bit of retouching. Now you can do your retouching here in Photoshop, but to be honest, I'm not very good at Photoshop and I much prefer working in Lightroom. It's just something I'm very comfortable with. So we're going to zoom in, we're going to give a little bit of sharpness to the eyes, but we can't overdo it. When it comes to portraits, I don't like to edit as much as I do with my landscapes or my cityscapes. So we're just going to give a little bit of sharpening and contrast. Not too much, just a tad bit. There you go, subtle changes. And that's it. Now we export our image. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Now Matthew did give me many more images and we will be editing them in the future. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you around.